management activities, what since we have only one processor available here, we just have one processor. So we don't have one process. We don't have many processors. So we have a system where multiple processors are also there. Let us get a scenario for one processor. So if we have one processor, we need the OS has to, as far as management is concerned, OS has to keep the track and status of processor. So when I say status, it is simple, available, or allocated. Okay, if it is available, you can use it. If it is allocated, then wait. Okay, so keep the track and the status of the process. Second, design, you should design a policy to allocate the processor. So you should have a policy to allocate the processor. Then third, allocation of processor to the process. And fourth, release the processor. Once the process is finished, either completed or you can say terminated. Okay, in any case, you need to release the processor. So this is what these are 4 points that you have to keep in mind. Okay, so these 4 points are very important. This first is, as far as management of processor is concerned, you need to keep the track and the status of the processor. You need to design the policy to allocate the processor, like to whom you are going to allocate, how you are going to allocate, when you are going to allocate, and like that. Okay, allocation of the processor should be done as per the policy. As per policy, you can say, and release the process either when the process is either completed or it is being terminated. So in between that, you cannot release the processor. Okay, so so if this is our management policy, then we need to think about the activities that are in connection with the process management. So one first important thing is that you should be able to create or delete either a user or system process. So whenever, like say, whenever we are creating a process, the term which we need to understand is that before a process, it is just a program. So if the process gets created, we have to the system will identify each process with, this is important, system will identify each process with the process identifier. So each process has a process ID. Then once the process is having a process ID, then the creation and deletion can be easily done. You can delete a certain process, you can create a certain process, like that. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it is a user process or system process, means either is a user level process or kernel level process. Every process is being created and deleted. Okay, at the same time, you can think of, like, you can have, it may be a case that process may get suspended or may resume. Okay, means like resume means what, say if you are expecting some of the resources to be used and those resources are not available for that particular instance of time, then you will go into wait state. So you will wait. So once that resources are available and they're being allocated to you, you will start resuming your work, or you're being suspended for some period of time. So after suspension is completed, you can again come back. So this is the case. Okay, so suspension and resuming of the processes are the important activity which you need to think of. At the same time, if like say, as I said that see, there is one process which is running, like say this is one thread which is running. Then from this particular point, say for example, uh, from this particular point, it is being converted, it is being generating multiple threads. For example, 4 threads it is being generating. Okay, so this is one thread, this is one thread, some instruction, and some instruction. Then they have to be synchronized. They have to be synchronized in such a way, if they are being they are being collected also, right? So they are being joined at the point. Okay, for that you need to go with the synchronize. Then these can communicate with one another. This thread can communicate with one another. The communication is possible. They're synchronized. Then they are communicating. So the time they are communicating, you need to understand that they're using a shared data for communication. They're using shared data for communication. They're using some signaling process for communication. Okay, but this is important. They are being synchronized so that you have a safe start and safe end. And then at the same time, when they are being executed, they are communicated also. They are being communicated with one another. So communication is there. So process communication there. So they are being synchronized. They are being communicated. Then you need, say, for example, if suppose someone is holding a resource and that is not being released, right? And in that case, of the process is particular will not be able to get, right? And the condition never satisfied. They will never get it, and their requirement is never satisfied. In that case, what is going to happen? In that deadlock is going to happen, right? So I am holding the resource, and I am just not adhered with the agreement that okay, once my job is over, once my work is over, I am going to release the resource, but I am not in position to release. My job is over. Okay, so in that case, the deadlock is going to deadlock is going to arise, and we need to work with the deadlock management. So as a matter of fact, activities are mentioned. First is creation important activity of the process, then deletion of the process. So it doesn't matter whether it is user process or system process. Then if required, you can suspend, or if required, you can resume. Suspending of process, resuming of process. Process can be synchronized. If it is a parallel process, they can be synchronized, they can be communicating to one another, and you need to avoid the deadlock. Okay, so these 5 activities, we need to take care. These 5 activities we need to take care whenever we are designing the policy. Okay, so the time we are designing a policy, we are taking care of these activities. Like, okay, if they are being executed in parallel, how they are going to do, how they are going to communicate, what if they need a same kind of resource, right? So that kind of management we need to do. So as a matter of fact, as far as the management is concerned, you have to take care of the 4 important points. First important point is how you are looking at the resource and how you are looking at the process which is utilizing the resource. So if you are looking at processor as a resource, in that case, OS has to think in this way that whether the processor is available or not, means OS has to keep the track and status of the resource, which is nothing but the processor. OS has to design a policy to allocate the resource, like when the process is going to processor is going to made available for the particular process, what are the criteria that are associated with the process, and likewise then allocation of the processor as per the policy which is designed, and release of the processor whenever the process is either complete or terminated. This scenario is when you're looking at the processor as one of the resource. So this processor has to be consumed by process. So if you look at process, then what are the management activities? So the management activities is either you need to create and delete the process, whatever, like whether it is a kernel process or system process, you should be able to create and delete. This is one. If required, the process can be suspended. If required, the suspended process can be resumed. It may be a case that process may abnormally terminated. Okay, in when the process is abnormally terminated, the processor will shift its state from run to wait and wait to ready, right? So that cycle has to be completed, that we will see it shortly. Okay, then you need to decide a mechanism for process synchronization. You need to decide a mechanism like process communication. You need to decide a mechanism that by any means your system will not enter into a deadlock situation. Okay, so deadlock handling is an important point. So this is important. Okay, so whenever the process is in a memory, then what are the, like I said that I have already told you, like there are certain data structures that are coming here. So what are those? Like say when the process is in memory, process requires a stack, process requires heap, process requires data, process requires text, process requires registers. Okay, so these are the important aspects with respect to the processor. Okay, so process with respect to the process. So every process has stack, registers, heap, and data. So this particular section will address to the objects that are in actions. Okay, okay, objects. This is used for having certain flag informations. Okay, right. So this is important. So this is the process in the memory. Now every process has to move within the states. Okay, every process has to move within the states. So means like what are those state? It is new, running, waiting, ready, and terminated. So out of this is new means what, where the process is being created. Running means when the instructions are being executed. Waiting means whenever the process is requiring any sort of device as such. Okay, or process is waiting for some event to happen, then process is in waiting state. Ready state means what, is a process is waiting to be assigned to a processor. And terminated. Okay, so terminated means what, whenever the process has finished execution, you can, like this can be like terminated when like user actually intervene. This is termination means abnormal termination, or you can say this can be like a completed. Instead of using this terminated word, you can say completed. Okay, so when the process has finished the execution, then it is into a complete state. Okay, so if you look at the diagrammatically, you can see that okay, this is where the process is being submitted. So this is the process. So new process is being submitted. So here it is a program. When it is submitted, here it becomes it as a process. Okay, so new means here it will creation. So process creation will happen here. Okay, so this is new. Okay, so this process is being admitted. So admitted into a ready state. So by ready state, it means that now here the processor is ready to execute the instructions. The processor is ready to execute the instruction of process. Okay, so this is the ready state. Okay, now from ready it is being shifted to running state. Means here at this particular state, processor is executing the instructions. So what is difference in ready? Processor is ready to execute. Processor is not executing. Processor has got a process and processor is ready to execute. So for execution, the state has to be changed to running. Okay, so processor is executing the instruction. Okay, but like see from running to it comes waiting. So means either it will come, either it will say that IO means you need some device, some IO device. You need some IO device here. You need some IO device, or you need some event to handle. Okay, so event to handle. So means like say your program is ready, and and you need a printer for this. So means if the printer is not connected, right, the process will be into waiting state because you don't have a printer available. So it will either say printer is not connected. So you connected a printer. So the data is being shifted to printer, it gets printed and you're again returned back. Okay, so it is like this. So the printer is being allocated to a running process. So whenever that particular IO is completed, so again it comes to ready. So it means that it is ready and running is a loop actually, right? Ready running means if you don't have any IO or you're not expecting event to happen, usually this is being executed into this two only. First it will go to ready and run, ready and run, ready and run. So this is okay. Now you are at the last instruction to execute it. Say for example you have this particular process, right, and these many instructions, and you are at the very last instructions. Okay, if you execute this particular last instruction, then process has to be shifted from running to terminated, or you can say completed. So this is the task is being completed. Okay, so the process will exit. So now the thing where when it is in this particular state, terminated state, so it will release these all allocated resources. Okay, so means what, whenever it is running to get terminated in this particular state, before going into this state, it will release all the allocated resources. This is important. So this is called as a process state diagram. This is called as process state diagram. Okay, so you have a process state diagram wherein we understand that the process is in new, then ready, then run, then wait, and complete state. Okay, but if in order to handle these number of states, you need a data structure. So that data structure is process control block. So this process control block is a data structure where the information associated with each process is being stored. So what are the attributes of process control block? It has a process state, process number. Now this process number is nothing but process ID. Okay, state means in which state the process is. Means either new, ready, run, wait, right? Or it is finished, complete. Okay, so this is a state. Okay, then each program needs a program counter. Each process needs a program counter. So this will track the instructions. This will track the instruction location of instructions to execute. So this will track the instruction. This is important. Now register constraint registers are nothing but these registers are particularly uh, processor related CPU registers. These are nothing but CPU registers, and this contains the information of all processes centric registers. Okay, so whatever the registers that are required by the process, they are being available here. Now next is like scheduling information, like what are the priorities. Priorities, like, okay, so this is each process has priority ID. So this is priority numbers. Okay, so whether it is high priority or low priority or medium priority, right? It's like this. So each process has the process priorities also, right? And this will help this particular help in scheduling purpose. This will help in scheduling purpose. Okay, now at the same time the memory limits, okay, in which memory limits that the process is going to operate, what are the files that are required by process. So open files that is also maintained. So this list of open file contains the addresses of files from FAT. Okay, so here the FAT stands for the FAT stands for allocation table. Here FAT stands for file allocation table. FAT stands for file allocation table here. Okay, so this is FAT is file allocation table. Okay, so it will take us from this. Okay, now apart from this, some accounting information is also being used. That is like how much time CPU is being used, what is the clock time, right? What is start time of the process, and likewise. This also contain information about the devices that are there. If say for example every process, so what system will do now here? Will prepare a list of what? PCB. So please try to understand this PCB is one per process. Right, so this is process control block, one per process. So which means that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is system list. So this is say process ID 1. This is I say process ID 2. This is 10. This is say 9. This is say 6. Okay, so try to understand, like, okay, once 1 is over, you have to shift to 2. Once 2 is over, you have to shift is 10. 10 is over, 9. 9 is over, 6. It's like this. So process control block plays an important role. So what we have seen so far is this much.